dùn títí dọmọwọ́. Gbà mo wà lọ́mọwọ́ àwọn ọ̀tá gbà mí gbé ikú ò pa mí. Iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run ni. Mo rákọ̀rọ̀ délé olódì àwọn tí ò fẹ́ ń wáyé rárá. Bàbá ọ̀ṣọ́ mi oore rẹ̀ yìí ò làkàwé. Láti rákọ̀rọ̀ títí dọmọ ìrìnsẹ̀ ọ̀ṣọ́ mi o. Títí mo fi wá dàgbà lágbà o. Ìgbà tí mo rọ́ iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ láyé mi, mo wá rí bá ọ̀rọ̀ ìgbà tí iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ láyé mi, orí pọ̀ ọ̀gá bàbá. Ìgbà tí mo rí oúnjẹ alágbà ó kọjú ìgbà èwe lọ. Torí ẹni ayé balẹ̀ táyé orí mú lógún tó sanra ń dojúkọ. Ìdí táyé fi ń lé ní óyé ayé Ọlọ́run mímọ́ o. Ojú ogun láyé jẹ́ fẹ́ni tó wáyé o wá ṣe rẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni mo wá ronú jinlẹ̀.
So, good afternoon, sir. Can you tell us about yourself, when and where you were born, and how growing up was like?
I was born on November 30, 1940. The family of Chief Joseph Adisa Ogunsola and Mama Alice Efundoyin Ogunsola. Here in Ibadan here, I grew up partly in Ibadan and partly at the village headquarters of Ogunsola. Our late grandfather, the past, was one of the people, the soldiers, what you can call the soldiers now, but they were not soldiers. That when they came from, there was, if you are Yoruba students, you know there was this, some of these wars which Ibadan fought very successfully on behalf of some on behalf of the Yorubas, Okriji and the like here. So, a good number of them from afar. After the wars, they migrated to Ibadan. So, really, most of the leaders then were from Ofa, really. So, our great-great-grandfather was one of them, and then they were warriors. And some of their soldiers followed them also to come to Ibadan. And these followers, when they came along with them, our great-grandfather acquired some estates in this large area, which is Olonda, Ogunsola. We have about 114 villages given to their soldiers who named their places after their own name. So it's a reasonable large family. I must confess that the true God has been, I won't say I might have faced some challenges, but I can't recollect because we who were young and of this family, we are treated like sons are of a big family. So really, whether the village, which is the headquarters, which is Ogunsola or London, or in town, there was not much challenges, particularly when we see that your classmates and some other people that God has blessed. My direct father was a big farmer, cocoa farmer. So you have certain privileges as the landlord. Not landlord in the way of oppression or anything of the sort. But the other villages, then they see you. And you are close to their children. Their children playing with you and doing all some other things that young boys or girls do that day. So I can say we had no challenge really.
All right, so which schools did you attend, sir? The schools you attended, your primary education, secondary education?
For the primary, I started at St. James's Anglican School, Ogunsola.
Where is that? Just around that area?
No, Ogunsola is the headquarters of areas acquired by our father, and out of this, about 114 villages. These are soldiers who followed our father on those wars. So they were given portions of the land, and that with the directive that they cannot sell it. Only when there's no male child in that, no male child in those villages to inherit what was given to their father, then you can approach us to get permission to sell that property.
Primary education, you know what school again?
St. James's Primary School at Olonda village. That's standard 1 to 2. The other side of the education in Ibadan, we attend Mapo Christ Church. So in the school there, that's more of us attended. So I started from standard 3 to, I went to secondary school from 5, in standard 5. I got admission to Biography school at standard 5. So I had my education, concluding of the primary education, standard 3 to standard 5 at St. James's Church, Mapo Church. Is this St. James's or for my church, for my secondary school? I was at the Biography school up till Form 5 when we had a secondary school certificate examination. Then I went to Federal Science School, Lagos. That's where I had my A-level preparations. Passed the exam with flying colors. And when the result came, I had what I expected. 3 papers at. Yeah, I had my tertiary education in Europe. I was in both. There was some years in Germany and then some years in Britain. So, and luckily for me, in Britain, one of these top engineering farms in the world then. You have everything.
What's the name of that?
Sir William Macro and Partners. Sir William Macro and Partners. It's one of the, you can't mention 3 engineering firms in the world. Sir William Macro must be one of them. Yes. So, and when I came home, there's this other very good firm, Overup and Partners. I worked with them. After working with them, and I was feeling that let me start my own private company. I started it and named it Unique Engineers. Unique Engineers. I was there. The thing lasted. The time of working with, there was a time I worked with government, and this was just to get used to how things are with government and private sector. I worked at the town planning office. The town planning then that they have was just one, but it covered the whole of Ibadan City and Lake City. I worked with them for 18 months because my intention was to get to know how things function in government. So once I got that finished, I started my own private company.
So, how was it like? Was it easy? Was it rough? Did the company grow? And is it still existing now?
The company grew. Then so once I came out, because a number of people, I'm over my training. The companies which I worked with both in UK and both in UK and Nigeria. They were highly respected consulting firms, so respected by government by itself. So I didn't see much of trouble. The only thing I knew then was that the Nigerians who went to our institutions in Nigeria, anytime that we say get to the ministry, which is the major works, they have advantage over us.
Why is that?
The thing is that those in charge in the ministry, they were classmates of all of us, looking for favor more or less to get contract or consultancy. So you have friends who studied all their something in Nigeria. They just come, once they come in for discussion to see the man there, maybe assume that the man has gone out. Once the man is coming, the big man is going to give you something. You find all these friends of ours who went to Nigerian universities. By the time the officer is entering the place where we were seated to await him, some of these your competitors, they will be hailing him. I haven't seen you for the past 16 years. Where were you? All of you are waiting for the man. And you say about 3 of them, not that the man chose them like this, in number, because they have been schoolmates, university mates, or hostel mates, and all. They continue to yap in front of all of us. And once the man is going to his room, they follow. I said, how are these boys? So studying Nigeria has an advantage then. That's an advantage, big advantage and a big impression on me. Because some of those who went in, socially, within town, etc., we know each other. We know the worth of each other. And we know that boys who studied in Nigeria, they have that great advantage. Great advantage. So they just walk in with their mates. When they get in, they'll be talking of the universities and what have you been doing, this young boy, and some other things like that. They have that advantage over those of us who studied abroad. I have a number of good times. Quite all right. I think one of these was a marriage in UK. And we were so proud. I mean, we were proud about the events, that things went well. After about 7 to 8 years of courtship, it was at the Federal Science School in Lagos that I met, and she met me also. So,
was it love at first sight, or you grew to like each other?
I wouldn't say it was more or less love at first sight. You know, there are two major classes at science school. For your A level, it's 2 years. You come from different places. And that's one of the best programs that people, Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa and his two ministers left for Nigeria. So when you see some people grudging, some of these governors grudging, you can imagine when a cabinet to be able to promote science in Nigeria, and they could think out of a program like that. And you now bring people from all over the country, all the states. So it was a place, it's Nigeria really, that you know each other. You know the Hausas, you know the Igbos, you know, and live together. For those in the boarding houses and in the school. So that was one of the best times I liked in Nigeria. The one I had in UK was the time of our marriage. Really, I would say I have no regret, because one major thing abroad, you must find you need money, because you have not. And I enjoyed the scholarship, federal government scholarship. So there was not much of a problem for us. You know.
You grew up, or you were a young person during one of the times that people often call the golden age of Nigeria, or Nigeria's golden age, like the 1960s downwards, when people actually talked about the fact that things were really good then. I was growing up at that particular moment in time compared to this period of time that we are in Nigeria.
I think a good number of saying some people are, see, they spoon-fed those who were in Nigerian universities.
Now or then?
Then, who will spoon-feed you here now? Because by the time that they go for lunch, what you see on the time there, what is being offered you
on the plate or
on the plate. some of you can talk about what's this? All these outlets, chicken, pepper, and some other things. Though in a day, one of the items for food is that something. Oh, I won't say full chicken, but half. That's what they give to Nigerian students. In their own, those are for those who study Nigeria. We don't enjoy that type of thing abroad. And unfortunately, a good number of them was, fortunately or I will tell you why unfortunately. They grew up under that situation. Many of them were on scholarships. They're not paying for. No, they even pay. Yes, their tuition was very small. So those are now the people in the ministries of both federal and state opposing scholarships for Nigerians. The enjoyment that they had, they had, they are now, yes. It may not be as good or something like that sort, but I find it wicked of them. I find it very wicked of them that the thing, you may not be giving the full thing due to the population explosion and some other things like that, but they should not face hardship the way the thing now became. You got some of the lecturers, a good number of them are our own classmates. Then they are our own classmates who enjoyed scholarship in the universities. So why should they now not look at all the opportunities that they had? If I always tell some of the theaters, when they, particularly ASU people like that if you are not the one, your father, your grandfather, they organize themselves together in villages to send some people to university in their own time. They gather some people and said that because they need school, they need and bits and send them to universities. Now you are a product of that university, of that higher education. You should not be there and try to oppress the others. Can you imagine that something set up like Federal Science School, the time it was headed was by Tafawa Balewa, a northerner. You've seen that practiced in the schools, and you now, who minister, who enjoyed all the facilities when you were young, you cannot design a solution to the things go rough like this. Because the essence of it all is to produce for the future those who will develop Nigeria. And now you are saying Yasu and some of the Yasu chaps, most of them on scholarships. Most of the people running ASU they want scholarships. But you now start bring in a number of other clauses and unfriendly policies. The same thing happens to those who are in the legislature and those who are in the ministries themselves. You now try to bring a lot of things which are not good for the country. At the time they said that okay, they are ready to give loans. Yes, it may be good to one extent because flow of money has gone down and some other things like that. But if you look back, I mean, at the states who did not have much scholarship, who did not have much finance, they practiced what was being done.
As an engineer,
Yeah.
what can Nigeria do to be at par with the rest of the world when it comes to technology, especially the advanced countries? Because Nigeria seems to be really lagging when it comes to technology. As an engineer, what can Nigeria do to be at par with the rest of the world, or maybe with the advanced countries in terms of technology?
I think and I agree seriously that great money should be devoted to education and health in this country. Because when you have a very sound person working for you, his production definitely will be higher. But if you have somebody who should get his salary at a particular time for working for you, and then you are now saying that your money, we spent it on something, wait for